The shocking mistakes everyone makes when eating sardines. Sardines stand out as a truly remarkable seafood option, distinguished by their naturally low mercury content, which positions them as an exceptionally safe and healthy choice that can be incorporated into one's diet with notable frequency. These small, nutrient-dense fish are veritable powerhouses of beneficial compounds, offering profound advantages for cardiovascular health, cognitive function, and skeletal integrity. Their nutritional profile is exceptionally rich, boasting substantial amounts of high-quality protein, omega-3 fatty acids, essential calcium, and a spectrum of vital vitamins that are indispensable for numerous bodily processes. However, despite their inherent goodness, a significant number of individuals inadvertently commit several prevalent errors in their handling and consumption of sardines. These missteps can significantly diminish the health benefits they offer, compromise their taste, and in some unfortunate instances even pose risks to one's well-being. It is worth pausing to consider the journey of sardines from the shelf to our plates. When selecting sardines, are you confident in distinguishing the optimal choice from the myriad of options presented? Following consumption, how are any remaining sardines stored? Is it with diligence to preserve freshness, or do they inadvertently succumb to spoilage? Have you ever found yourself rinsing sardines under running water with the mistaken belief that this practice enhances their healthiness? Perhaps the most critical question of all pertains to whether you are inadvertently discarding the very part of the sardine that holds the greatest concentration of nutritional value. The unfortunate reality is that sardines are frequently overlooked, not due to any inherent deficiency in their quality as they emerge from the can, but rather because of the subsequent handling they receive. From minor storage oversights to outright culinary blunders, the inherent goodness of these tiny fish can be lost long before they have the opportunity to contribute their remarkable health-promoting properties to your body. This comprehensive exploration aims to meticulously dissect the common errors that individuals make when it comes to sardines. While some of these mistakes may appear minor at first glance, a deeper understanding of the underlying principles will undoubtedly reveal their significant impact on both taste and nutritional yield. By the conclusion of this discussion, you will be equipped with the knowledge to savor sardines precisely as they were intended, maximizing their benefits and enjoying their unique flavor profile. Before we delve into the specifics of these dietary pitfalls, a small request. If you find this information valuable, please express your appreciation by tapping the like button and subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you will join a growing community dedicated to making informed and healthy food choices. Furthermore, if you are keen to see more content of this nature, please indicate your interest by typing yes in the comments section. This feedback is invaluable in guiding our content creation. Now let us embark on this journey of sardine enlightenment. Mistake 10. Throwing out the bones. A remarkably prevalent oversight when preparing sardines involves the misguided act of meticulously removing the delicate bones. At first encounter, this action might seem intuitively correct, given that the bones of larger fish can indeed be sharp, irritating, and even pose a choking hazard. However, sardines represent a distinct category. Their bones are entirely safe for consumption, possessing a soft, yielding texture that renders them perfectly edible and chewable. The industrial canning process subjects these fish to pressure cooking, a method that softens their bones to such an extent that most individuals consuming them are entirely unaware of their presence. The profound significance of this practice, however, lies in a hidden nutritional treasure. These tiny bones are exceptionally rich in essential nutrients. They represent one of the most potent natural sources of calcium available within the realm of seafood. Astonishingly, a single serving of sardines that includes the bones can contribute upwards of 1/3 of an individual's daily calcium requirements. This mineral is absolutely fundamental for maintaining robust bone density, ensuring dental health, and facilitating proper muscle function. Moreover, these edible bones are a source of vitamin D, a crucial nutrient that significantly enhances the body's capacity to absorb dietary calcium. In concert, calcium and vitamin D form an unparalleled partnership in safeguarding bone health, a benefit that becomes particularly pronounced as individuals age. When you choose to extract the bones, you are not merely undertaking an unnecessary and time-consuming task. You are actively discarding valuable nutrients that your body desperately needs. Moreover, and perhaps most importantly, the presence of these bones does not adversely affect the taste. They integrate seamlessly with the flesh of the fish, often becoming indistinguishable to the palate. Many longtime proponents of sardines report being unable to discern the boundary between the meat and the bones. While some manufacturers do offer deboned sardine varieties, these products typically come with a higher price tag and often exhibit a compromised visual appeal, appearing more fragmented due to the deboning process itself. Consequently, you end up paying a premium for diminished nutritional content and a less appealing presentation. The remedy to this common pitfall is elegantly simple. Embrace the bones. They are safe, exceptionally nutritious, and virtually imperceptible once you begin eating. Consider them an intrinsic bonus, a hidden advantage that elevates sardines to the status of one of the most nutrient-dense foods readily available for purchase. Mistake 9. Choosing water-packed instead of oil-packed. A significant misstep often occurs even before the sardines reach your home, specifically within the confines of the grocery store aisle. The decision to opt for sardines packed in water over those preserved in oil constitutes a substantial oversight. On the surface, the notion of water-packed might suggest a healthier, lower-calorie alternative with a more delicate flavor. However, the reality is somewhat contrary. When you bypass oil in favor of water, you forfeit both a significant portion of the flavor and a considerable amount of nutritional value. Sardines are inherently rich in beneficial fats, with a particular abundance of omega-3 fatty acids. These are precisely the types of fats renowned for their anti-inflammatory properties, their protective effects on the heart, and their contribution to maintaining the fish's natural moisture, while simultaneously enhancing your body's capacity to utilize these valuable omega-3s. Water, conversely, offers no such benefits to the fish. Sardines preserved in water tend to develop a bland, dry, and sometimes even a metallic taste over time. This degradation is attributable to water's inability to adequately shield the natural oils inherent in the fish from oxidation. As these oils break down, both the flavor and the nutritional potency of the sardines diminish. Oil, in stark contrast, functions as a protective barrier, ensuring that sardines remain fresher and more palatable for extended periods. Indeed, many culinary enthusiasts attest that sardines submerged in olive oil often improve in flavor with age. While it is true that sardines packed in oil possess a higher calorie count, these calories are derived from the very healthy fats that are immensely beneficial for your body. This seemingly minor choice in the grocery store can precipitate a remarkably substantial difference in the final outcome. If your objective is to consume sardines that not only taste exceptional, but also deliver their maximum nutritional potential, then it is advisable to steer clear of water-packed tins, and instead select those packed in a quality oil. Mistake 8. Letting opened cans sit too long. Herein lies a prevalent oversight that almost every sardine consumer encounters at some juncture. The regrettable habit of leaving an opened can of sardines exposed to the elements for an excessive duration. While unopened cans of sardines possess a remarkable longevity, capable of remaining viable for several years, the moment the lid is breached, a countdown to deterioration commences. As soon as sardines are exposed to atmospheric oxygen, a process of degradation begins. The beneficial oils contained within the fish initiate oxidation, a chemical reaction that not only alters the flavor profile but also degrades the precious omega-3 fats, the very compounds that are often the primary motivation for consuming sardines in the first place. This implies that the longer they remain open, the less nutritional benefit you derive from them, and their taste deteriorates accordingly. The precise duration of their edibility is contingent upon the packing medium. Sardines preserved in water experience a more rapid decline, typically becoming unsuitable for consumption within a mere 24 hours. Those immersed in oil, however, can retain their quality for a more respectable period of 2 to 3 days when refrigerated. If your sardines are packed in tomato sauce, you might extend this window to approximately 4 days. However, there exists a crucial, non-negotiable threshold. After 1 week, irrespective of the packing medium, sardines are to be considered spoiled and unequivocally unsafe to consume. Another common error involves the perpetuation of storing opened sardines within their original opened can. Once exposed, the metal of the can can interact with the surrounding air, accelerating the spoilage process and imparting an unpleasant metallic aftertaste. To circumvent this, food safety authorities universally recommend promptly transferring opened sardines into a clean, airtight glass or plastic container. This practice effectively minimizes air exposure, slows the loss of valuable nutrients, and, crucially, preserves their flavor. For individuals who wish to prolong the shelf life even further, freezing is an option. However, it is important to note that the freezing process can alter the texture, rendering the sardines softer. The most judicious approach is to open only the quantity of sardines that you anticipate consuming within a few days and to invariably transfer any leftovers into an appropriate, sealed container. Cultivating this simple habit will ensure that your sardines remain safe, fresh, and replete with the nutrition they are designed to provide. Mistake 7. Ignoring expiration dates and storage rules. A widespread misconception is that canned food possesses an indefinite shelf life, a notion that is, unfortunately, inaccurate. Sardines, when properly sealed and stored under optimal conditions, can maintain their quality for extended periods, often spanning years. However, their primary adversaries are heat, direct sunlight, and excessive moisture. If you were to leave cans of sardines exposed on a sunny kitchen windowsill, in close proximity to a heat-generating stove, or in a damp pantry, you would inadvertently accelerate the degradation process of both the can and its contents. Over time, the inherent oils within the fish will oxidize, leading to the development of rancid flavors and a decline in nutrient content. A more serious consequence of improper storage is the potential for bacterial proliferation within compromised cans, rendering the sardines unsafe for consumption. Furthermore, a lesser-known fact is that not all canned sardines exhibit the same storage characteristics. Those packed in acidic liquids, such as tomato sauce, tend to degrade more rapidly than their counterparts preserved in oil. This disparity necessitates a strategic rotation of your sardine inventory. Prioritize the consumption of varieties packed in acidic mediums, reserving the oil-packed tins for longer-term storage. It is also imperative to conduct a thorough visual inspection of the can prior to opening. Any signs of bulging, significant rust, deep dents along the seams, or evident leaks are unequivocal indicators that the can and its contents should be discarded without hesitation. Consider this perspective. Sardines represent one of the most economically accessible superfoods available on the market. It would be a regrettable waste to allow them to spoil. More critically, one should never jeopardize their health due to a lack of diligence in proper storage practices. With a modicum of care and attention, you can ensure that every can of sardines you purchase remains fresh, safe, and capable of delivering the full spectrum of nutritional benefits it promises. Mistake 6. Only eating them straight from the can. A significant advantage of sardines lies in their sheer convenience. The act of opening a tin immediately presents a ready-to-eat meal. However, this very convenience harbors a subtle disadvantage. If one exclusively consumes sardines in their unadorned state, a considerable amount of their flavor potential and versatility is left untapped, leading many individuals to quickly lose interest in them. Sardines possess a far broader culinary utility than is often recognized. Instead of viewing them solely as a finished snack, it is more productive to consider them as a versatile ingredient. For instance, by mashing them with a small amount of yogurt, avocado, or olive oil, you can create a protein-rich spread ideal for toasting bread or serving with crackers. When served on toast, incorporating toppings such as capers, thinly sliced onions, or ripe tomatoes can elevate them into a Mediterranean-inspired delight that, while appearing gourmet, can be prepared in mere minutes. Their efficacy extends to hot dishes as well. Stirring them into pasta sauces in the final moments of cooking can impart an additional layer of flavor and a significant boost of omega-3s. Adding them to a stir-fry just before serving ensures they retain their structural integrity while simultaneously enhancing the protein content. Even the humble pizza can be significantly improved by the addition of sardines. Their inherent savory and salty notes form a delightful complement to ingredients like olives, bell peppers, and fresh herbs. For breakfast, incorporating mashed sardines into scrambled eggs or omelets can transform your morning meal into a power-packed start to the day. The benefits derived from these culinary applications extend beyond mere taste enhancement to encompass improved nutrient absorption. When sardines are paired with complementary foods such as vegetables, whole grains, or healthy fats, the body's ability to utilize their nutrients is significantly amplified. For example, consuming sardines alongside foods rich in vitamin C, such as tomatoes or bell peppers, facilitates a more efficient absorption of iron. Therefore, while enjoying sardines directly from the can on occasion is perfectly acceptable, it is advisable not to confine yourself to this singular mode of consumption. With a touch of culinary imagination, sardines can evolve from a simple canned food into a secret weapon for transforming a multitude of dishes into more exciting and demonstrably more nutritious creations. Mistake 5. Thinking all sardines taste the same. A pervasive assumption held by many is that all sardines are essentially identical in flavor and texture. The belief that opening one will yield a taste indistinguishable from any other is, however, a considerable departure from the truth. Much like the nuanced differences observed in wines, coffees, or cheeses, sardines exhibit substantial variations in their flavor profiles, textural characteristics, and overall quality. These distinctions are influenced by a multitude of factors, including their geographical origin, the specific method of preservation employed, and even the season in which they were harvested. Consider, for instance, the impact of their aquatic environment. Sardines originating from the Atlantic Ocean may possess a flavor profile markedly different from those found in the Mediterranean or Pacific regions. This divergence arises because the ambient temperature of the water, the fish's dietary habits, and the overall ecological system in which they thrive all play a crucial role in shaping their taste. Sardines from colder waters, such as those sourced from Norway, often present a firmer texture and a cleaner, more refined flavor. Conversely, sardines from warmer climes may exhibit a softer consistency and a richer taste. The temporal aspect of their capture also holds significance. Fish caught during the spring may possess a lighter flavor, while those harvested later in the year are typically fatter and more intensely flavored. Furthermore, the choice of packing liquid exerts a dramatic influence on the final taste. Whether they are preserved in olive oil, tomato sauce, mustard, or simply water, each medium imparts its unique character. For example, Spanish and Portuguese sardines, when packed in high-quality olive oil, often develop deep, complex flavor notes that evolve and mature over time. Some producers even subject their sardines to a smoking process, bestowing upon them a distinct savory richness, while others opt for spiced oils or sauces to introduce an added element of piquancy. Therefore, if your initial experience with sardines was underwhelming, it is premature to dismiss them entirely. The particular variety you sampled may simply not have aligned with your preferences. By actively exploring different brands, exploring diverse origins, and experimenting with various packing styles, you have the potential to fundamentally transform your entire perception and appreciation of the sardines. They are far from a monolithic food item. A whole universe of distinct flavors awaits discovery within those unassuming little tins. Mistake 4. Pairing sardines with the wrong flavors. Sardines are characteristically bold and assertive little fish. Their inherent richness, derived from their natural oils, coupled with their pronounced savory taste, positions them as potent culinary ingredients. However, this very potency necessitates careful consideration when selecting complementary flavors. One of the most significant errors in their preparation involves combining them with flavor profiles that clash rather than harmonize. The fundamental principle to embrace is that sardines thrive on contrast. Their inherent richness is most effectively showcased when juxtaposed with ingredients that are bright, fresh, or tangy, as these qualities effectively cut through the oiliness. Examples of such ideal pairings include fresh lemon juice, a touch of vinegar, briny capers, ripe tomatoes, or the sharpness of pickled vegetables. These distinctively zesty flavors do not overpower the inherent taste of the sardine. Instead, they accentuate it, resulting in a more balanced and exhilarating culinary experience. The inclusion of fresh herbs such as parsley, dill, or cilantro also contributes a clean, refreshing note that serves to lighten the overall dish. Conversely, certain flavor combinations should be approached with caution. Heavy, creamy sauces and overly buttery dishes, for instance, tend to create an overwhelming richness when paired with the oily nature of sardines, potentially masking their unique flavor. Similarly, sweet glazes or fruit-based toppings can often compete with the sardines' natural saltiness, leading to an unpleasant and discordant taste sensation. To illustrate this point, consider the difference between sardines served on toast with a simple dressing of lemon and herbs, a pairing that is both light and satisfying, and sardines smothered in a rich, heavy cheese sauce, where the double dose of richness can make them challenging to fully enjoy. While culinary experimentation is always encouraged, the paramount consideration remains balance. When you meticulously select flavors that complement rather than contend with sardines, they transcend their status as mere canned fish and emerge as a sophisticated ingredient, exuding freshness, vibrancy, and an unforgettable character. Mistake 3. Rinsing away taste and nutrition. This particular misstep might elicit a degree of surprise, but one of the most detrimental actions one can undertake with sardines is to rinse them under running water prior to consumption. The motivation behind this practice is typically the desire to reduce the perceived saltiness, fat content, or the characteristic fishy aroma. However, in actuality, this rinsing process merely serves to wash away both the nuanced flavor and the precious nutrients that the sardines offer. When sardines are canned, the oil, sauce, or brine in which they are preserved is not merely a filler, it is an integral component of the preservation and flavor development process. Over the course of their storage, a subtle exchange occurs. The fish gradually releases some of its natural juices into the surrounding liquid, while simultaneously the liquid infuses the fish. Crucially, vital nutrients, including omega-3 fatty acids and fat-soluble vitamins, migrate into this liquid. Consequently, when you rinse the sardines, you are effectively discarding these valuable nutrients, along with the complex flavor profile that has been meticulously cultivated over months. For sardines packed in oil, rinsing introduces an additional complication. The immiscible nature of oil and water means that the rinsing process can leave the fish slippery, prone to breaking apart, and consequently, less visually appealing. The same principle applies to sardines preserved in tomato or mustard sauces. Rinsing strips away the very tanginess and richness that serve to balance the fish's inherent flavor, leaving a diminished and less satisfying product. Regarding the salt content, while it is true that sardines can be salty, rinsing is not an effective solution. The salt is absorbed intrinsically into the fish's tissues during the canning process, rather than merely residing on the surface. A more effective and beneficial strategy involves either purchasing low-sodium varieties of sardines or consciously reducing the salt content in other components of your meal. This approach ensures that you preserve the integrity of the sardine's flavor and nutrient density. Consider it this way: rinsing sardines is akin to undoing months of careful flavor and nutrient development in a matter of mere seconds. Instead of washing it all away, embrace the oil, brine, or sauce. It is an indispensable element that contributes significantly to the unique appeal of sardines. Mistake 2. Avoiding sardines because of fishiness. A primary impediment preventing many individuals from embracing sardines is the deeply ingrained perception that they possess an overly strong, fishy flavor. However, the reality is that sardines are by definition fish, and as such, they are inherently expected to carry a taste evocative of the sea. The perceived issue is not typically with the sardines themselves, but rather with how they have been stored, prepared, or combined with other ingredients. High-quality sardines should present a clean, savory, and subtly briny flavor, reminiscent of a refreshing ocean breeze. If your experience with sardines is characterized by an overpowering or unpleasant intensity, it is highly probable that they have not been stored optimally, have surpassed their peak freshness, or are being inadequately paired with other foods. The key to overcoming this perceived fishiness lies not in attempting to mask the flavor, but rather in enhancing and brightening it. The judicious application of acidic ingredients, such as a generous squeeze of fresh lemon juice, a splash of vinegar, or a spoonful of bright tomato sauce, serves to effectively counteract any heaviness and imbue the flavor with a lively character. Similarly, the inclusion of fresh herbs like parsley, cilantro, or dill introduces a refreshing dimension that balances the inherent richness of the fish. The quality of the sardines themselves also plays a pivotal role. Sardines preserved in superior olive oil or flavorful tomato sauce often exhibit a cleaner and less intense flavor profile compared to their cheaper, less carefully processed counterparts. Furthermore, it is worth noting that our taste buds possess a remarkable capacity for adaptation. If one is not accustomed to consuming fish regularly, sardines might initially appear strong. However, with continued exposure, the palate can begin to discern their subtle sweetness and underlying depth of flavor. Rather than prematurely dismissing sardines as excessively fishy, a more productive approach involves experimenting with diverse pairings. Incorporating them into salads, topping them with a squeeze of citrus, or serving them alongside crisp, fresh vegetables can dramatically alter the perception of their flavor. You may find yourself pleasantly surprised by how quickly that initially perceived fishiness transforms into a taste you genuinely anticipate and enjoy. Mistake 1: throwing away the precious oil. This represents, by a significant margin, the most economically disadvantageous mistake that people make when consuming sardines. The act of draining off the oil from a can of sardines and discarding it down the sink is, in essence, pouring away liquid gold. That often overlooked golden liquid is not mere waste. It is the repository for some of the most desirable flavor components and a substantial portion of the fish's nutritional value. The underlying principle is rooted in a gradual and beneficial exchange that occurs when sardines are packed in oil. The fish, in a slow and steady process, release some of their natural essences and juices into the surrounding oil, while simultaneously, the oil itself permeates and enriches the flesh of the sardines. Over the extended period of storage, this oil becomes profoundly infused with omega-3 fatty acids, vital fat-soluble vitamins such as D and E, and a deep, savory flavor that is highly prized in culinary circles. In essence, this oil transforms into a concentrated form of liquid nutrition. Discarding it does not simply equate to a loss of calories, it means the willful abandonment of valuable nutrients that are instrumental in supporting cardiovascular health, cognitive function, and the robustness of the immune system. From a gastronomic perspective, you are also forfeiting a free and highly effective flavor enhancer, an ingredient that professional chefs would eagerly incorporate into their repertoire. So what are the practical applications for this valuable oil? The possibilities are abundant. Consider drizzling it over salads as a substitute for commercially produced dressings. Employ it as a flavorful base for sautéing onions and garlic before cooking pasta or rice dishes. Stir it into soups or stews to enrich the depth and complexity of the broth. You can even use it for a quick and satisfying snack by dipping fresh bread into it, enhanced with a squeeze of lemon and a sprinkle of fresh herbs. As an added bonus, the flavor of this sardine oil actually tends to deepen and become more nuanced for a few days after the can has been opened, provided it is stored properly in the refrigerator. This prolonged maturation can contribute even greater complexity to your culinary creations. In summary, sardine oil is simply too valuable to be wasted. It should be treated with the reverence it deserves, recognized for the potent, secret ingredient that it truly is. Who should be careful with sardines? While sardines unequivocally rank among the most health-promoting foods available, their potent nutritional profile means they are not universally suitable for everyone, nor should they be consumed without consideration by all. Certain demographic groups should exercise particular caution and potentially limit their intake. Individuals who are managing high blood pressure or have a sensitivity to sodium should be particularly mindful. The majority of commercially canned sardines are preserved in brine, oil, or sauces that contain a significant amount of sodium. Excessive sodium intake can lead to elevated blood pressure, making low-sodium sardine varieties a preferable choice for these individuals. People who suffer from gout or have elevated uric acid levels also need to be aware. Sardines are naturally high in purines, which the body metabolizes into uric acid. For individuals predisposed to gout, this can trigger painful flare-ups. In such cases, moderation is paramount. Anyone prone to developing kidney stones, especially those of the uric acid variety, should also exercise caution, as an increased intake of purines may elevate the risk. Consulting with a healthcare professional before incorporating sardines into a regular dietary regimen is strongly advised for these individuals. Pregnant women, while benefiting from the fact that sardines are exceptionally low in mercury compared to larger fish like tuna or swordfish, should still remain mindful. Given that sardines are frequently canned in oil or brine, It is prudent for pregnant women to monitor their sodium and overall calorie intake if they consume them with notable frequency. For the vast majority of healthy individuals, however, sardines represent a truly exceptional food that can and should be enjoyed regularly. Nevertheless, if you fall into any of the aforementioned categories, adopting a more moderate approach to sardine consumption is the most prudent course of action. To conclude, sardines stand as one of the most vastly underestimated superfoods available, but their full potential can only be unlocked through proper handling and preparation. From the critical initial step of selecting the appropriate can to the subsequent stages of storage, pairing, and mindful preparation, even minor oversights can drastically alter the outcome, transforming what could be a bland and wasted meal into a profoundly nourishing and satisfying experience. Do not allow simple, avoidable mistakes to deprive you of the remarkable benefits that sardines have to offer. Abundant in protein, omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, and essential vitamins, they contribute significantly to the well-being of your heart, brain, and skeletal system, all while remaining one of the most budget-friendly food options obtainable. You are now equipped with the knowledge to fully harness their potential and circumvent the common pitfalls that hinder most individuals. If you found this video to be informative and helpful, we kindly request that you show your appreciation by hitting the like button. This action greatly assists our channel. Furthermore, do not forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to ensure you are promptly alerted to future videos offering similar valuable insights. We are genuinely interested in your perspectives, so please share your thoughts and favorite sardine preparation methods in the comments section below. Your feedback is highly valued and contributes to our ongoing